Okay, everybody, let's take a deep breath. Exhale. One more deep breath. Exhale. We'll start today's session with an opening entrepreneurship, chant. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, that's wonderful. So can I request the folks online to keep your videos open? Good. The first aspect, Pardeep. The first step to being extraordinary in the entrepreneurship is that we need to be out in the open. We need to be out in the open and we need to start representing ourselves. So what we're going to do today is, number one, we're going to review some of the extraordinary cards that we looked at. Now, does everybody remember? Or I know you both did not attend last week, right? I did. You did. Sorry. You were online. Oh, you were online. I see. Oh, you were Sanjana, right? So it's very difficult for me with the mask on. Who is Sanjana? Who is this different thing, right? So, but what we're going to do today is we're going to quickly recap those extraordinary things. And one thing that we're going to do today is we're going to build on that. There is a newer game. It's actually called TheWholeNineYards. What are the steps that we're going to do in actually towards building a company? So we're going to go there. And then what we're going to do is we'll also watch one TED Talk. And how many of you know about Salcon? And have any of you watched one of his TED Talks? Anyone? Folks online? Yogi Arun? Did you ever watch any talks from Salcon, from Khan Academy?
Yes, I have actually. I do his website, and I learned from that, and I watched some in school.
Ah, that's fantastic. I would have guessed it. That's the reason why I picked on you, because you are a coding geek already in the 4th grade, and I'm sure Khan Academy would have played a bigger role.
Yeah, there's a lot of JavaScript I'm learning in there.
Actually, do you know Yogi Arun? Do you know React?
Not yet.
Not yet. I see. Next week I'll have an update for all of you. That I'll be very closely tied to perhaps the web React kind of stuff. Perhaps I'll partner with you. You could come work for me, or rather, we'll flip the other way. And I would come work for you. Which one is better? You working for me or I working for you?
You working for me.
Exactly. See, this is what we all need to embrace. See, the 4th grader, he basically saying like, you all need to come and work for me. So that is what is an extraordinary skills. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend about 10 minutes. We're actually going to watch one TED Talk from Khan Academy that really inspired me on the journey of entrepreneurship. And of course, I've been an entrepreneur for now probably for about 20 years. But until I met Salcon, my perspective on entrepreneurship was very different. And Salcon completely changed the landscape to a point where I now introduce Khan Academy in the government schools of India. I actually introduced Khan Academy in different dimensions. So what I would like for us to do is let's collectively go through Khan Academy or Salcon's journey, and then we're going to quickly look around and then get what insights do we collect from that. Is that fair? And then in the end, we're going to have one of my partners at the YEC, and you'll all be thrilled to meet Rajesh Shetty. And depending on the time, we're going to actually have him guide us through some of the entrepreneur mindset kind of stuff. Yep. So before I begin, I know I gave some exercise for everybody on the email. Does anybody remember what exercise that I gave? How many of you read my emails? Okay, good. So there was one action item that I had. Come up with one idea. So let's actually quickly do a round clock. What I would like everybody to do is introduce your name and what grade that you're in, and then just within one sentence, not more than one sentence, if you could frame any insight or any idea of a company that's on the top of your head, right? Anything, right? So let's start with the folks online. So the youngest that we have is Priya. Priya, you want to go first? Priya, can you hear us? Sorry, you're on mute. Folks online, can you hear me?
Yes, we are.
Are you talking to me, Srini?
Yes, I'm talking to you. So
You said
since
youngest. Oh, I didn't realize you were being sarcastic. So I thought there was another
no.
young
There
Priya.
is, sorry, I don't ever do anything that is sarcastic, or I don't ever get into limelight. I treat you as the youngest. So let's actually settle for that, and then let's continue. So introduce yourself and then come up with, in one sentence, come up with one idea.
One idea on how we can change things, or
idea for an idea of, a startup idea. That was part of the homework, right? Where you find a status quo in the world and then come up with, what could be everything. And it has to be exactly in one sentence.
Yeah, I'm Priya. I work in IT. I'm a product owner, product manager. I think clean energy is very key. So I think measures to make it more affordable and make it universal, where, for example, in India, to ensure that solar power is utilized properly, or in places like Denmark.
Can I interrupt you one thing? Sorry. Can we make it as concise? Like, for example,
okay.
the way
so I think implementing clean energy where those resources are readily available in a very affordable fashion is very critical. I think that's an initiative I'd like to support.
Okay. So affordable clean energy is the one idea. So the way to frame that is like, some simple is like affordable clean energy. So we all need to practice saying that as like, with few words, how can you actually frame the idea? So that's and Priya, thank you for going first. That's kind of a model that we were trying to get, right? And then Parthiv, you want to go?
Okay. Hi, my name is Parthiv. I am in 11th grade. An idea I had was starting a company that helps students all around the world, or kids, join this program called FIRST, and helps them get started into a robotics competition that teaches entrepreneurship, programming, the engineering side, and many other skills like teamwork and cooperation.
Okay, so that's perfect. Does anybody would want to take a shot at what Parthiv said and come up with, one anchor idea, what he's talking about? Perhaps, let me do like a robotics learning platform or a robotics and leadership learning platform. Would that make sense? Parthiv, did it capture what you're talking about?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, excellent. So who would want to go next? Vedanshi, you want to go?
I haven't given this like as much thought as the rest of them, but I'd like to have something that.
First, sorry, the instruction were twofold. One is introduce yourself. Next one is I'm just trying to be an entrepreneur, because when you present an idea to a venture capitalist, to others, there is no confusion about whatever you're there, you represent yourself. We are all here at the same level. There is no need for us to be, feeling bad about, okay, I don't have an idea. So all those things, we'll put aside. We just represent ourselves fully in the moment. Okay, Vedanshi, go.
Yeah, I'm Vedanshi. I'm a sophomore at Centennial High School. And one idea that I'd like to implement is tutoring disadvantaged children.
Love it. Empowerment of disablement, tutoring, disabled stuff. Fantastic. And Tarun?
Hi, my name is Tarun. I am a 9th grader student in Liberty High School. And something that I would like, an insight that I'd have for a company would be to support and provide to underprivileged children, such as orphans, like resources like food, water, and shelter.
Got good. Does anybody want to take a shot at what's the one quick moniker of what that is? Empowerment of orphans around the world. Is that what it is? Like food, water, shelter? Is that, did it capture, Tarun?
Yes.
Right. So basically it's like, equal opportunity and empowerment of underprivileged, or particularly the orphans. Yeah, that's cool. And then Yogi Arun. Yogi Arun.
Yes, mine was that my
So-
name is Yogya, and I'm in 4th grade, and there's a lot of endangered species around the world. So my company would be to gather a lot of people around the world, and in each of their countries or cities, they would go and find these endangered species and make a habitat for them that is safe.
I see. That's cool. And does anybody would want to capture that essence? Tarun, you want to take a stab at it?
Yeah, I think it's a very good idea.
Yeah. But what is the quick summary?
What? Sorry.
What is Yogi Arun explain the concept, but I'm trying to get to like one line or few words moniker, like what we talked about. Your idea is orphanage empowerment. So whatever Yogi described, how do we summarize that in few words?
Can you please say that again? What the key points that he said?
Yogi, you want to go again?
Yeah, so there are a lot of endangered species in the world, and my company is to gather people around the world in the countries and cities to gather endangered species and bring them to a habitat that's safe for them.
Yeah, so what Yoga is trying to say, it kind of goes in my idea of saying like helping, like in my case it was underprivileged children. But with Yoga's case it was endangered species, right? So I guess it goes in the same idea of just helping the species in this world just having a better life.
Yeah. It's just like protecting and empowering or endangered species, right? The habitat, endangered species. You're absolutely right. And then Varun, you want to go next?
Yeah, my name is Varun. I'm a rising senior at Liberty High School, and one thing I had in mind was maybe trying to create some funds to help those in hunger who couldn't afford any food, I guess. We're gonna try to create some funds for them.
Yeah. So anybody want to summarize what that is? Sricharan, Datta.
I guess just like helping the hungry, if you want people like that.
Eradicate hunger, right? Eradicate hunger. That's fantastic. Shrikar? And Shrikar, while you're speaking, can you please turn your video on? And Yogya and Priya, if you could, as much as possible, if you could turn on the video, that would be fantastic. Yeah.
My name is Shuka Fawali, and I'm a junior in high school. And my business idea would be essentially a medical courier service, which is similar to like Grubhub, where they deliver food. They would just deliver medical supplies and needs to you whenever you need it.
Wow. Medical career services.
Yeah.
Is it only the supplies, or is it also the people, the care providers?
Well, care providers, it wouldn't really work because you can just call 911 and like stuff like that. But like, I don't think you need a care service person unless you need getting like a serious injury. But like for like medical supplies and like how people have to go to like Walgreens and all that stuff to get stuff, it's kind of an inconvenience. So if you had a service to do that for you, it would just be easier for you.
Something like an Uber Eats now, it's like a Uber supply, Uber medical things,
exactly.
right? Is that kind of stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
there's some idea that I would want to plant in your head, which is like 911 is only few people, right, in the emergency services. But what if every care provider could also be like an Uber driver? They can actually go to where the patient is. Today, the status quo is patient who is sick has to go to a care provider. Why does it have to be that way? Right? What if a doctor, like an Uber, goes to the patient? So whatever you're talking about, the medical career, it doesn't have to perhaps limit it to just the supplies, but could also be the care providers.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a fantastic idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Samskriti?
Yeah, my name is Sanskriti. I'm 12 years old and I'm in 7th grade at Lower Middle School. And some idea that I would implement is helping all people, not just underprivileged or rich, like reach the potential that they have in other aspects of life.
That's so fantastic. It's so beautiful that you said. What you say is like, so how do we frame this into like, as few words as possible? Sanjana, you want to take a shot at it? Everybody realizing their true potential. And Samskriti, do you have a feel for, do you have an imagination of what is the true potential for everybody?
I think the main thing when it starts out with true potential is not learning to do things amazingly, but first believing in yourself and like having expectations. And then as you have those expectations, you could go on with what you're doing and then reach those and go above and beyond with them. And I think that's what reaching your true potential really is.
Love it, love it. I think, we may touch on one of this capability, in today's session when Rajesh comes in. And how many of you heard of the flow state? Sounds familiar? Mihaly's flow theory. Was it introduced in any of your schools? It's a fantastic framework. It's an Eastern European philosopher who came up with this flow state and exactly maps to what Samskriti talked about. Did I miss anybody online? Yeah. So let's actually go around. You want to go first? Yeah. So you have to speak a little bit louder because, yeah.
Okay, my name is Rita. I'm a senior. And my idea is to have like locations around in like poor countries, kind of in the rural places where people don't have as many resources, and provide them with things like food, water, school supplies, maybe even teaching, like a library, like a play area for them, because they don't have all those stuff.
And how do we summarize that? Like a wellness center? Yeah. Right, actually, like the wholesome center where, they get provided everything. Is that capture? Yeah, that's cool. Sanjana?
Okay. Hi, I'm Sanjana. I'm a senior at Rock Hill High School. So my insight, like if I had a business, I would do like use clean energy or like efficient resources to create like basic needs for everyone who needs it.
So clean energy for everyone, right? And then kind of maps to what Priya said earlier, affordable clean energy. And to make it for everybody, it needs to be affordable and scalable, right? That's cool. Sri Charan?
Hi, my name is Sri Charan. I'm an 11th grader, and I think my insight would be like a lot of new products these days, they're like making everyone lazy. So like my idea was to challenge that and then like kind of like make some type of app or some type of reward system that like helps you be productive in a sort of way. So like if I were to summarize that, so just like a rewards platform that helps you be productive.
So it's just like, how do you measure the productivity though?
So I guess
define lazy first.
So I mean, I guess like number one thing is just like we're on our phones all day, and then we're just like sometimes we're just like scrolling through social media and it becomes like 1 hour, 2 hours. And then so like I think like developing a program that like maybe measures like how much time you're not on those apps, on certain apps, and maybe measuring like what like physical activity that you get done in a day and things like that.
But here's a, let's all jump in, right? This is how we're going to debate, and then let's all pick one idea and then use that in the game that we're going to play, right? So, but you are going to design an app. It is like, if people need to use your app, that means they'll be spending more time on your phone without doing physical activity. So wouldn't your app be the source of laziness?
Well, I think I think the app should be like, it should be an isolated app as well. So it's like you set like your restrictions at one certain time. So it's like maybe like 5 to 10 minute setup, and then you don't touch it for the rest of the day, and you come back to it at the end of the day, and you see how much productivity you got done.
So basically, essentially, what the insight that you had is spending time on the phones is not a good idea, right? And that's one of the factors for laziness, right? So we need to be away from the phones, right? Away from the phones, yet we should still be tracking our lifestyle. So how do we actually make that thing happen, right? So which is, yeah.
Why don't you translate that into like a book, like a journal or something, instead of your phone? There's so many wellness journals.
So you can also journal everything, right? That actually, what is the benefit of journaling? We are going to rediscover our skill of handwriting, right? Now, many people are actually losing. Vedamshi, is that what you had in mind?
Yeah, because like you was talking about an app to track things, you can easily just like check a box or something instead of going on your phone.
But I mean, I think like even so, like if I was to keep a journal and check boxes, I think like people need motivation to do that. And so like with the app, like I was thinking like maybe like a reward system, sort of, because like if like I could keep a journal and then I could like start checking boxes up, and maybe like a week later I just don't want to do it anymore because I have no motivation for that. So there has to be some motivation factor.
Correct. There need to be rewards. How do people want to participate in? You need to have a rewards, both from, mostly it has to be a positive incentives, the rewards. And then sometimes it also needs to have a stick to the carrot and the stick kind of stuff. But stick, you cannot do that as a provider. But we're going to talk about it. I think that's a good gamification kind of stuff. And I also need to tell an idea, right? So because I'm with you all. Is it okay for me to steal some ideas from the ones that you actually talked about? So I'm going to steal some of the ideas that all of you have, bits and pieces. And then I'm going to share my idea, and then we'll all vote on one idea. My idea is youth excellence. The youth excellence, and I'm actually going to, this I stole from Sanskriti. What Sanskriti said is, regardless of who you are, orphan or where you are located, whatever you are, how can you realize your full potential? And the full potential is excellence. So for me, what my idea is, how can we design excellence for everybody on this planet? Samskriti, is it okay for me to steal your idea?
Yeah, sure.
And is it similar?
Yeah, it is in many ways.
Yeah. And then there are tools, for that, perhaps I'll steal some idea from Sri Charan on how we're going to track and this stuff. Somebody else said, orphan. Somebody said, habitats. Only when you have a thriving habitat, that's what excellence means for us. If there is no other species, if they're only human, how long we're going to live? Assume that there is no other species on this planet except human. Do you know how long humans are going to live? Just take a random guess.
I think a week, or maybe even, yeah.
Yeah. So because, we survive only because of the ambience and the eco that is provided by a lot of bacteria. That is only the microbes, only that is the reason why that we here. And the best part is, if humans don't exist, what will happen to the rest of the planet?
Planet will thrive fine.
The planet actually is going to be so much more exuberant. Actually, this is going to thrive. We are actually a cost center. Humans are cost center, actually. So my idea is to design excellence for everybody. And that excellence only comes from when our ecosystem, when you have affordable energy, when you have a thriving habitat, and when you have, wellness centers, when you have, an affordable energy, but also accessible for everybody, right? And then, we've talked about wellness centers. We talked about all the different things. How we are going to help that is to by allowing everybody to get into a flow state. The thing that was very positive for me is all of your ideas is all about how to create a better world. I mean, that's so fantastic. I mean, at your young age, I don't think I never had any of this kind of an insights, but how much you guys are all thinking about creating a better world for yourself. I mean, which is very remarkable. So now let's all vote on one idea, and then let's actually try to build a company. Which one? Anybody? Should we actually do a mock youth excellence center? Like, what we are in, let's try to build this company. What excellence means for everybody in the world. Should we do that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen, and there is a game. All of you, many of you have already played the connect the dots, correct? So now there is a next game. Once you have an idea of what are the superpowers to be an extraordinary entrepreneur, now let's take one idea and then let's collectively, we're all co-founders now. We're all co-founders for this youth excellence. Now, who is youth? Everyone, right? From orphans to Habitat to, the people, of Indian, people not Indian, disabled people, and all those things, they're all youth. And then excellence is realizing our true potential. What does that mean? It's actually exuberance and joy, right? That is, let's set that as a frame, youth excellence. And then for that, we need, physical centers. We probably need virtual centers. We'll actually see what kind of a company that we're going to come up with. Is that fair?
I just want to add one little thing. I know that the YEZ's purpose is not just excellence, but it's also about bringing in this, whole social consciousness and social responsibility. So let's not forget that.
We
not
already
just
talked about
excelling, but using it for a good purpose, to change.
Youth excellence is, the thing that we said is your excellence is interdependent with excellence all around. So that's what we said, only when the habitat and your excellence is only when everybody else is there. Otherwise, if you only design for the human excellence and then, ignore all the habitat, you will be dead in no time, right?
Yeah,
so
I also meant not just the individual, but the communities.
No, exactly. It's a community is actually a whole ecosystem. It's actually the much bigger. But anyway, we'll actually get into the company building. Okay, let's actually do this. Can you all see my screen now? Not yet. Is this a good idea? Let's actually go build a company together. Actually, you see, without paying any of you, I actually got so much co-founders with me, and you're all going to work on this idea. Let's see what kind of a company that we're going to build. So this is 9 yards of innovation journey. So now let's start it. What should we call this company name? Anybody would want to name this?
Youth excellence.
Youth excellence. Okay, good. And folks online, I'm using Sri Charan's idea, and I'm actually tracking everybody's engagement. So please speak up. Otherwise, you're going to get negative points. So youth excellence. So before we actually, when we start a company, the first thing that we need to do is, that insight. What is the unfair status quo? And what is the positive outcome? That insight to outcome, what is the change that you want to bring? For all of you expressed, the types of change that you want. It represented a current state, which is inefficient, to a better future state. So who wants to go for what? It's like, what is the change that we want to bring? Yeah, go ahead.
Cleanse our environment.
Can you say that again?
Cleanse our environment. Sorry.
Cleanse our environment. Yeah. What is the youth excellence means environment needs to be good, right? The clean climate, healthy climate. Okay. Anybody else?
I just had a question. Are we supposed to be doing this with you, or are you only doing this?
No, we are all collectively doing it. I'm actually sharing the screen. Can you see this?
Yes, I can see it. I forgot my password for it.
No. Sorry. No, you none of you have this game provision. It's only provision for me and we are all working on this.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay. So now what I would like you to do is we're all co-founders of this company, Youth Excellence. Okay.
You can think of it like we're all in a meeting and Srini is projecting it on a big screen. We're having a collective discussion. So we're all co-founders. We're putting our ideas out there.
Yeah. What is the change that we want to bring for this Youth Excellence? What is the change that we want to bring?
Food and safe, food and shelter for all children, regardless of.
Shelter for everyone. And again, once we said
children at least.
Sorry. So we are actually talking about, now we are getting into the specifics where there is a separate card. At some level, what does youth excellence mean? So if we were to capture this as a elevator pitch, now we are actually talking about the specifics. The climate needs to be done. Everybody needs to have education. Everybody needs to have food. Those are all the goals that you're going to come up, right? But what is the one-liner? Elevator pitch. Everybody realizing excellence, or the 360 degrees, or the joy, or people. There is like Buddha. What did Buddha say? We talked about Buddha being one of the greatest entrepreneurs, right? What he said is like end to suffering for all humankind, and that's also a good statement actually. End to suffering. It means excellent. But instead of doing it as a negative way, let's actually do in a positive way, right? So what does excellence mean? Doing something that's ordinary. Okay, so not ordinary. So excellence, how about I say is like excellence means good health. Does excellence mean healthy? Does excellence mean happy and joyful? And what else excellence mean?
One word, but like bringing bringing yourself to the highest state you can possibly be.
So which is like full realizing your true potential, right? Anybody has a better word? Because see, I studied in Telugu medium. I'm not good in English, so you're all experts in English. So realizing our true potential, right? Is good enough? Okay, good. Realizing the full potential. How about I say it's like infinite potential? Do we all believe that we're all infinite potential? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to test that. Who has the invitation? And what else? Excellence means healthy, happy, infinite, infinite potential, infinite powers. Yeah. And what else? Yeah, that means we are sharing, and we are inspiring. We are inspiring, and we are all sharing. So what we say is like excellence means all these things for everyone. Let's just start with that, right? Are there any other let's actually say it's like no. We also need to say it's like food, right? Everybody is fully nourished, and then everybody needs to have shelter. The basic needs: health, food, shelter, education. Because how many of you seen the movie WALL-E? Yeah, WALL-E actually is interesting. Does anybody want to give a two-line summary, not more than two-line summary of what WALL-E is, particularly that spaceship?
Well, I remember the movie like very faintly. But he kind of reminds me of like kind of someone who inspires and reaches his infinite potential and an entrepreneur.
Let me actually do it. Actually, there is a company called BNL. In the spaceship, there used to be like a BNL. What does BNL stand for? Big and large. And is there a company that exists today that kind of that is synonymous with big and large? Huh?
Elon Musk, all the companies.
No, but what goes synonymous with big and large? Like Amazon, right? Amazon. But let me quickly share if you haven't done it. And I want to see if that is excellence or not. In that movie, because this planet gets corrupted and all that stuff because of the climate, gets all this. So this planet becomes inhabitable. So with the human ingenuity, like Elon Musk, like what he's doing with SpaceX, they actually design a spacecraft and then create an alternative space in the space. Like, everybody goes and live in the spaceship. And then every citizen in that spaceship, in the new colony, they all sit in a virtual reality chair. And then all they would be doing is sit in the virtual reality with a headset on. And then they will actually be always in that exuberant state. Like, they're always on that beach in Hawaii and then sipping a nice, drink. And they're always in that, exuberant state. And in fact, everybody says like, BNL says like, now this is the Christmas time. And then everybody dress changes to Christmas, lighting, right? So everybody, they design using the augmented reality and the mixed reality. So everybody is in that excellent state because everybody is healthy. Everybody is happy because the mind always tells you it's in the pina colada or, be on the Hawaii beach and everything, right? Everybody, all the attributes that we talked about, food is taken care, shelter is taken care, education, I don't know. But everybody seems to be happy. Is that the excellent state? Why or why not? Okay.
It's encouraging like laziness. That's like not your full potential.
Exactly. We are like, the species is dead. We're like sitting in a chair and we are like simulated in the high state. And then what happens in the movie is because we are not actually using anything, the humans in the limbs start actually shrinking. The feet and the fingers, and you all become zombies. But the mind says like you're always in the joy state. In fact, in the yoga, we call that as a samadhi state, but it is not something that you work for it. It's something that is being simulated for you. And then what happened? And then suddenly some people realize that there is a Wall-E, there's a robot realizes that the Wall-E realizes the fate of the humanity. It's like sitting in a chair and then constantly feeling like it's simulated. This is what all the youth is now being subjected to. Playing video games, thinking that is exuberance. And in the process, we are losing our writing skills. We are losing our listening skills. We are losing our physical ability. Everything, we are actually becoming less of a human. In the garb of getting my company, Apple and all that stuff, with this technology. So that is not an excellent state. We're not actually working hard to create exuberance from using our limits. So that is the reason we need to put some boundaries of what the excellence is. If you only say joy and the happiness and the full thing, then the Amazon is gonna come and put a headset on you and you will be no hunger, no this thing, everybody. So we need to put some boundaries to preserve our humanity, our true potential, right? So that's what I would want all of you to keep in mind. Whenever you're building a company, you have to create it with the right constraints. Otherwise, we do not know what excellence means. Does anybody have any other thoughts?
I think so. Based on the Wall-E thing, there's like that movie's great, but there's another takeaway from that movie. Because like Wall-E, basically, like he's a robot meant to just like put trash away.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he goes from nothing, like just like a robot that puts trash away, to ending up like realizing the fate of humanity and saving the world, right?
And then he actually enlightens all the human beings. Yeah. And then everybody comes in back to the planet, where this planet essentially becomes a junkyard with all the plastic and everything. Then they finally actually grow a leaf. Yeah. So we have the power to clean the climate. We have the power to destroy it, but with our ingenuity, we can actually bring it back to. I mean, Elon Musk and Sal Khan are two of my role model entrepreneurs, right? Two of my role model entrepreneurs. The only thing that I disagree with Elon Musk right now is that he already given up on his planet. He's like, okay, to preserve the humanity, he's already trying to think about, okay, we need to build a spaceship and the Mars, we need to do the colonization. Instead, somebody like him, with all the powers that he had, he can actually say, like, okay, I'm going to fix this. I mean, of course, he's built a Tesla, but I think, Tesla is a small drop. It can be done in a much bigger scale, and it's doable. So we need to enlighten folks like Elon Musk, so that they can actually create excellence here, not there, right? So that's cool. I mean, isn't this a beautiful idea? I think we are actually doing something better. And so what are the goals and the time frame that you want to achieve? So anytime when you have an idea, the next step in the journey is you need to have clear goals and then the time frame. Otherwise, when Kennedy wanted to go to the moon, he said by the end of the decade we need to be on the moon. How many of you heard the acronym SMART? SMART. So anytime we come up with a company, we need to come up with SMART goals. They're called specific, measurable, actionable, resourceful, and time-bound. That's the definition of SMART. Otherwise, what happens is you're just putting up in the sky. If I were to say, it's like we want to build a youth excellence. But if you don't have any specific goals and with a time frame, then it's as good as nothing. If you were to go back to the EXO card, right? Having an idea is ordinary, but acting on it and finishing it in style is extraordinary. For that, we need to have a time frame. So let's actually put how much excellence that we want to achieve. Should we put what time frame that we want to do? Let's actually, instead of canvassing the whole big universe, let's actually pick some specific goal. Should we target some number of, let's say, what number, how many youth that we want to capture? Let's put a time frame, a number of users in the time frame. And we're going to help them achieve excellence.
So what, like the company that we're trying to build is like a program almost, right?
No, forget about all the details. Let's just stay with the objective. Do not do that. So let's actually put something like with 1 year. In 1 year, can we help achieve excellence for 1,000 people? Is that reasonable? Is it less or more? How many people online, they think that is less? That's a stretch goal or it's not a lofty enough goal? Okay, let's do that. Is 1,000 a good number? Okay, let's put something like 1,000 folks. I think Ritika, you are skeptical about achieving excellence for 1,000 people. What do you think is reasonable?
Not that it's like skeptical. It's just that if you're starting something, you don't want to like rush everything and suddenly give it out to so many people and have that go down.
Okay, so actually, how about we draw some boundary, right? Let's actually say it's like, because excellence means so many dimensions, right? How about we only talk about, maybe something that you're doing, some youth entrepreneurship camps or youth, yoga camps or, something like, education and empowerment for some number, right? Yeah.
Start like doing something virtual or like start in like one specific area.
Right. So we're going to come up with it. So basically it's like, let's first say it's like, excellence in entrepreneurship education. Because we need to bound it, right? And mindfulness. And then we'll also put is like, helping some underprivileged, right? And then school supplies, school resources for at least 1,000 youth. Is that a reasonable goal? Yeah. Is reasonable? And then as we achieve this, we can actually add more scope, more goals, and then we can incrementally do it. And how many locations do we want to do? With the virtual, we can cover everything, right? And then at least 3 youth excellence centers.
Remote places.
Yeah.
Where people don't have like electronics.
Exactly. How about we actually design a van, like a mobile, right? Okay. YEC on wheels, like a mobile van to cater to folks with no internet and physical rooms, right? This is fun.
Is this going to be like all over the place or just like one specific area?
How about what areas we want to do? US and India? Should we pick something? Yeah. Or what other ideas?
I think we should like not just US, but like we should concentrate it down first because like in 1 year, I think we should like start small. So,
Like let's say since we're already doing it, how about Frisco? Because we are all okay. So Frisco, right? Frisco, and then let's pick one. It's like I'm gonna pick just for the heck of it. I'm from Warangal, India. Just pick one village and then around the schools. And then should we do one other city? Frisco, or we said 3 centers, Frisco and Warangal. Anybody have any other? Because Priya, you want to go to Canada? Yeah, and Canada? No,
Why
Canada.
not Africa or South America?
No, I don't know if it's achievable.
Oh, because we're located here. Okay, I see what you mean.
I see. No. Let me put something that is achievable is Caribbean. We're going to do Caribbean, like a Barbados. Because there is already some work that is happening in Caribbean. So let's actually pick something that is achievable. So what we're going to do is, so let me recap. We're going to focus on excellence in entrepreneurship education, mindfulness, school supplies for at least 1,000 youth. And then what we want to do is at least 2 youth excellence centers worldwide. And then we basically said Frisco, Texas, Warangal, India, and Caribbean. Okay, and then to cater to the folks that do not have internet connectivity, we need to have YAC and more on wheels. Correct? Ritika, did I capture it well? Anybody on the Sanskriti? Does that look good? You should be happy because there is Warangal there. Yeah. Samskriti, are we building your company or not? This is your company, by the way. That's your idea.
Yeah, it's looking good so far.
Looking good so far. Okay, now let's actually go. So, you're all co-founders. Now you're all kind of bound on it. We all need to be working towards realizing these things. Now, what are the risks that we see in the engineering? Now, what we started with is we started with the change. And then we basically then identified what are the goals, specific measurable goals in the time bound, right? This is kind of the company building. Now, what are the risks that we see in the journey? Yeah.
If you're trying to make money off of this, you can't use all of your own money to
like resources, your capital, right? Capital. And the thing is, you yourself, we as the co-founders, we shouldn't go bankrupt, right? So capital of the co-founders. Capital, and then resources, capital, and protection for co-founders. Okay, what other risks? Yeah, Sanjana.
Because of sorry.
So go ahead, Sanjana.
Okay, I don't know if this would be like a risk, but you kind of really have to work on like advertising your services and stuff. Otherwise, that you won't see your growth or anything in the company.
So again, the thing is, you need, but that is more of what you need. But what is the risk from it? If you do not, basically, it's like if you do not generate the right awareness, then you may not be able to achieve the goals. Yeah. And for that, it again comes back to capital, right? If you have the capital, then you can actually do it, right? Are there any other things online? Samskriti, somebody was saying something about COVID.
That was me. What I said is like, when we're trying to build these centers or mobilize the van or everything, because of COVID, might be harder to garner all these.
Love it. Yeah. Pandemic might limit the physical centers and then the wheels. So we may only would have to, what does it mean? We only would have to settle for virtual experience at that time, right? I don't think
even mobilizing resources, right, becomes difficult, becomes more expensive also.
Yeah. So this is like, pandemic might limit the possibility of
it might increase cost also.
Ability of physical and mobile centers increases cost and other unknowns. Okay. What other things? Rest. Online, yoga. Any risk that you see with the goal that we signed up for?
Maybe I really don't see anything that could be wrong. Maybe yeah, you already said resources. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe not many people in there, for not many people to produce for.
Yeah, I think cool. So let's limit that. So we'll actually, I think these are good enough. Does anybody have anything before we move on to the next step?
Perhaps in like places that we aren't, we have to find people we can trust to like properly build the.
Love it.
Maybe staffing.
Yeah. Leaders, trusted leaders. Finding trusted leaders in other locations. Did I capture it right? Yeah, did I?
Yeah, that's really good.
Good. Okay, now let's structure it. Now we focused on what are the things. Now, what makes this something that's achievable by us? Because whenever we are building a company as an idea, it has to be something that's aligned to our strengths, or the people in the stakeholders, the co-founder strengths. Otherwise, if I want to go build a Tesla right now, I don't have any resources other than some entrepreneur, but I don't know the domain experience. I do not have anything. So whenever we are building a company, it has to be something that's based on the skills. In fact, whenever you try to go to a venture capitalist, the first question that they say is like, number one, what they're going to say is like, what is the problem that you're trying to solve? And what is the impact? And then the third question that they say is like, what is your unfair advantage? Why is it that only you can do this, that others cannot do it? So idea has to be measured with that your unique strengths, right? So what are our unique strengths? Yeah.
I guess like hardworking, the ability to like.
So we have good core, good character, right? We are all like, hardworking, passionate, committed, and this stuff. Yeah.
I think a lot of people, like I know a lot of people say it, but no one actually goes through with the end shows, and it kind of refers back to the taking action onto what you.
Yeah. Execution, right? And then the second thing is, anybody else? Like as an example, if I were to, because
try not to take other companies down. Like don't advertise your youth excellence center as the best one.
As the best one. Actually, it's a good thing, because this is a great lesson that I always used to say in my startups. Don't try to. Your job needs to be about you and your customers. The competition is not the other one, because if you make a connection on how well I can meet your needs, that's what we should be focused on, right? And then they should ask us like, but why are you different? Then we can actually, but our focus is always about surprise and delight for our customers, right? But that's more of a how, right? That's again comes to a good character, right? Which is the thing. Yeah.
I think, well, like if we're building this, like I guess it ties in the first one kind of, but like we first need to have the mindset of excellence in ourselves to then like teach others about it.
So what does that mean? So are we already excellent?
Yeah.
So we already have excellent skills, right? We have, let's pretend or we believe that, right? We mastered excellence in these domains, right? And know the recipe for it. As an example, if I were to just say this, right? Because we are trying to, I've been an entrepreneur, and I've been trying to be, I teach yoga classes, I teach mindfulness, we kind of know all these things. and all of you do the same thing in your schools. So we already have, that is the most important thing that everybody looks for. Do you have prior experience? That is because if you already know how to teach entrepreneurship and how to create some of these resources and how to reach in India, like the other thing is Warangal. Warangal is Sanskriti's native hometown. So we already have access. If somebody else would want to come to Warangal, as an example, and we are all part of Frisco. If somebody else would want to build a youth excellence center in Frisco, they need to understand the lay of the land. We have proven ecosystems, right? Proven ecosystems.
And cultural exposure.
Yeah, proven ecosystem and cultural.
Exposure, yeah. Cultural understanding, maybe. I think understanding would be awareness. Yeah.
Right. So these are some of the things. Number one is
Srini, one more. You have the network to bring in funds or people who would invest in our ventures.
Yeah. So it was like proven ecosystem of, because the thing that we need to do is we already identified some challenges. The risk is capital. We said time and people in the capital. So now what we need to do is our strengths is that we can actually go with our extensive network. And what did Siddharth say last week in his session? One of the advice for all the youth. When is the best time to start a company? Start young. Why? Because where do you get the capital? From your parents. So we already have proven ecosystem of investors, including our parents, right? Extended ecosystem of resources for capital, and it doesn't have to be capital, because even the referrals, right? Sri Charan's dad has a huge network and they could actually bring 1,000 people in no time. So we can achieve our goals. Extended ecosystem of resources for capital and resources, including our parents. Friends and family. Parents is friends and family. What your resources you may require in this. This is where we actually get into business plan. And if time permitting, next week, I'll actually walk you through a small semblance of a plan. What we basically do is, we basically set some goals. 1,000 users, 3 facilities, 1 van, and then we're going to conduct some number of programs. If that is what we need to do, then we need to kind of look at what are all the things that we need to offer as products. That means we need to have this like youth entrepreneurship camps, some mindfulness camps, some centers. And then from here to the next 12 months, every month we need to have a plan to actually get to the 1,000. And that's what a business plan is. And in fact, what I learned about the business plan is that it actually allows you to truly build the entire company before it actually built. Because you're actually going through every month. You start from the end goal. We already fixed 1 year what we want to do. Then if you were to lock August, and then by August 22, the end state is 1,000 youth in the excellence in the youth entrepreneurship and mindfulness and with the school supplies. That's an end goal. And then we said 3 cities and then 1 van. Now we need to walk that through how we are going to get there with every month. And then when we walk you through every month, we also have to put what is the resources that you need? In August, how many resources you need? The people, the resources, the facilities. Like as an example, when do you want to buy a van? And the van, if you buy is van is right now, the best part is I'm already building a van actually. So whenever the van actually we launch it in Warangal, I will have you actually come in and take ownership of that idea. Because you're a co-founder of that. So we need to start building, a van is going to cost 10 lakh rupees, which is about, $2,000, let's say, or $1,500. So we need to actually start building a cost analysis of everything. And then the second thing is, are we going to charge? Like, for example, not only you guys are the co-founders, but you're already part of the 1,000 users. In the first scam that we did, we have about 17 youth excellence people already. And then you all paid, how much did you all pay? $60. So we also look at how much capital that we're going to put into the business. What are the things that you need to achieve the goals? And what is the income that we're going to come up with? In the end, for realize the thing, you're going to know exactly how much money that you need to put in and how much money that you're going to generate. Of course, since we are doing this as a social entrepreneurship, initially, I think we are going to put some money. So we need to then actually go back and then see like, where is this money going to come from? And then we need to look at the risk. Who said that? The risk of bankruptcy of the thing. So we need to make sure that by achieving this, that we don't become less excellent. Right? So that is what a business plan is. And I cannot tell you, I cannot emphasize, before 2006, whenever I want to build a company, I always used to focus on the idea because I've always been a technologist. So it's like, I could only see about how to build a product. But only when I started looking at the finance and the business skills, that's when things started making the thing. It's just like, how can I build a profitable business? How can I sustain? Then when I have a goal, how much am I going to offer this product for? How much people are going to pay for it? And then to be able to do that, I need to hire 10 employees. How much salary do I need to pay them? And then every month I was going to do it. Then it basically is like, oh, for me to go build this idea, I need $5 million. Then it's like, if I don't know how to, then I go into a different idea. So it actually put a right way to kind of bring it into the pragmatics. What I see in most of the youth entrepreneurs, they all believe that this is just a passion, hobby. Sit in an idea and think about a nice idea. No. This what resources, working through a business plan, will actually then brings it to the reality and face it. And that facing should not deter you. Then you start working towards like, this month, what is my action plan? Next month, what is my action plan? And then we're going to continue. That is the execution muscle. Actions and metrics, right? So what resources do we need? It's like, need van, need 2 facilities, need curriculum, and then need to attract youth, right? Participants. And last one is need capital up to, let's say, $1 million. No, it's too sad, right? For 1,000 youth, if you need to spend $1 million, it's too heavy. Let's actually say it's like, I think let's try and do this in $100,000. Is that reasonable, right? Otherwise, we're going to lease this center. It's not like we're going to buy it, we're going to lease it. Is that a good assumption? Because with $100,000, we cannot buy anything, right? All we're going to do is we're going to lease these facilities. Does that work? Vedamshi? Are we doing great so far? Are we building the right company?
Yeah, it's going really well.
Okay, it's going well. Now generate ideas. Are there any ideas on how you're going to get there? The campaign events like meetups.
Yeah, like social networking.
Social networking. Yeah. Outreach to schools, communities. Yeah, at the library and the community facilities. Yeah. And then the content is, let's put something as like ask parents to invest $100 every parent. Yep. And then we're going to do venture capital outreach, social venture capital outreach, social venture VCs, and then donors, right? People who are in the giving, ask them to fund some money. And then charitable, donate some money, then engage free tutors, people who can come up with, tutors and curriculum, like what we are doing. See, Naveen, who is a big, entrepreneur coach, who would charge something like $100 for each one of these classes. He gave all of us this for free, connecting the dots and walking the 9 yards. And we had folks like Adam, folks like, Siddharth, who all came and walked through this journey. So which is like recruit inspiring youth entrepreneurs. Yep. And look for free open source tools. Does anybody know Asana? It's a project management tool like Asana, and then Google, all these things, we can actually use. We can even social media. We can use social media as a campaign and stuff. Okay, let's start with that. Then choose one idea that you plan to execute. Let's first start with, okay, we're going to start with youth entrepreneurship camps. Camps for folks in Frisco. What is, when the company plan comes in, we would have already checked off, we did one thing, right? For 20 kids, for 20 youth. And then just one idea. How do you think you can verify if you could bring about the change? So we picked one idea. How do you validate that it actually maps to the original change that you talked about, that it actually brings excellence? So let's actually frame it. If we were to finish the youth entrepreneurship camp, do you think it would have mapped to, it would have achieved an excellence or the change that we were trying to get to? Let's take this own camp. Would it have achieved the change, the youth excellence? It doesn't have to be complete, but at least a step in that direction. Do you think? How do we verify it?
I think just ask us about our ideas at this point.
So it's, ask the participants about mindset change. Is there any specific thing about a mindset that you want to talk about?
Like the take the insights.
Sight to insight. Yeah, sight versus insight. Yeah. And any other thing?
Like take action on your ideas.
And taking action. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like not just mindset change, but like doing an action as well. Like,
Yeah. Anybody else on the phone? Sanskriti, this is your idea, your company. How do you verify that we succeeded in achieving the potential?
Yeah, I think like ask the participants about the mindset change is a good one because like it's about the insight and the action part of it.
So love it. Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can ask if people have like do an activity like create a business plan for their own company.
Cool. Like now going through a similar framework, create a high-level business plan, right? High-level business plan for 1 year. For the change that we talked about, 1 year business plan for the first time. How do you plan to celebrate achievements? Once, let's visualize it. It's like, let's assume that, come August of 2022. Now let's all transport ourselves into August of 2022. And then where we are celebrating, how many users would have got? Our goal was 1,000. How many users would have got in August of 2022?
Hopefully at least 1,000.
Okay. And anybody else? Sanskriti, how do you think, what do you think, imagine yourself in August 2022 with this idea. How many users how many users would have gone through this program?
Well, it's depending on like how many people want to go to the program each year because it might not stay at a constant rate based on how it's going.
No. Let's not get into this. Like, this is just about an inspiration. We are trying to believe. We already believe as an entrepreneur, we believe in the positive state. Something, but it cannot be outlandish. When you set our goal as 1,000, you cannot say it's like, it will be million. It has to be something that is more reasonable. Anybody wants to take a shot at it? The right answer is greater than 1,000.
Srini, I think we should still celebrate 100. It's still a milestone.
Okay,
And
okay,
then,
okay. Sorry, let's actually stick to the program. The goal is, we set out a goal as 1,000. Let's first imagine August of 2022. This is what is called the Inspirational Declaration. We have to make an intention to the universe that we are planning to build a youth excellence for 1,000 people. Now, August of 2022, what do we see? The state, imagine ourselves in August 22, sitting here. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that like if we had to imagine it like being successful, like instead of just having it in Bristol, we like expand it to other places in Texas or the United States or like other places in India too, like we were talking before, instead of just Bristol.
Yeah. How do you plan to, but finish the thought? Sorry.
Oh, instead of just like having it in Frisco like we did for our goal,
Ah.
like in other places.
You could actually exceed it, added one more location.
Yeah.
Right. So the thing is, the end state that I look at it is like, we would have at least covered 1,200 youth. Our goal was 1,000, but actually to make it more real, let's actually say it's like 1,195. To make it even more, right? To be more authentic, so that, and then it all has to be programmed inside, which is, what's the number? I just put 1,195. Does anybody have a better number? Sanskriti, this is your company. Pick a number greater than 1,000.
Better than 1,000?
Yeah, bigger than 1,000.
What is this based off of again?
No. We said we are going to have. We said we are going to have 1,000 users by the end of this 1 year. 1,000 people that go through Youth Excellence Program. That was the company. So we said, okay, in the interest of time, let's say 1,195 users, and then more than 3 sites, right, Sanjana? More than 3 sites. And then now, how are we going to celebrate? What is the party that we're going to have? See, we far exceeded our goals. It's 1,000, and now we are operating in four territories with 1 van, and we achieved 1,195. Then how do we celebrate?
I think like but kind of like give this like same idea to like people that we empowered through this program, and then like ask them to further go forth and like spread this word to other people.
So they could be the youth excellence owners.
Yeah.
They could be the new entrepreneurs. That's a good way to celebrate. It's just like, then we would have had 1,000 new youth excellence entrepreneurs. Celebrate with you. Come on, man, which is like, celebration. I thought this is our cup of tea. How do we celebrate it? Yeah, like a social event. And, does anybody want to do dancing at the social event?
We could probably do like a fundraiser.
A fundraiser, right? So now what I would want us to do is, let's live this world. When India won the recent World Cup in the cricket, about a year before, as part of the training, every day for 10 to 15 minutes, they would actually practice the cup holding ceremony. Everybody in the team. That is what is called the visualization, art of manifestation. And they basically were believing every day they were practicing. They had a mock cup, and then they were literally seriously going and lifting the cup and celebrating. Then what they were doing is they were etching this success state. They're stating that intent. But of course, some people only do that ceremony without actually putting the hard work, right? But here we are actually putting the right work, with the business plan every month, what you're trying to do every month to everyday behaviors. But you also need to visualize the end state. In the end, we're going to celebrate regardless, like what Pia said. Even if we get 100 users or only 18 users like what we got, we're going to celebrate regardless, right? Because we're going to celebrate our efforts, not the outcomes. Celebration is certain regardless of the outcomes.
Yeah, I think what I meant is, Srini, we should, to achieve this end goal, we should set some interim milestones and celebrate at every stage, so we'll feel more motivated that we are working closer towards the goal. That's what I meant.
Yeah, sounds good. And we are all excellent. We're all youth Okay. Now let's see. And then add an image. Let's see if I have an image. Yeah. By the way, I just received some presidential award for some volunteer service. So I just picked some of that stuff.
We should have started today with that appreciation, Srini. Congratulations. It's a big accomplishment.
This is us. So now we'll build a company business plan. Let's see what this turns out into. Okay. So what this tool does is it actually put together a nice business plan that we all can take it. So it's like in the company that you're trying to build is youth excellence, the 9-yard journey. What is the change that you're trying to do? What is the goals in the time frame? How do we verify that we achieve the goals? How do we celebrate? So the risks, strengths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, see, we've already built a company. Now all you have to do is take this and then start executing towards. So let's all give a big round of applause for all of us being the successful co-founders and getting a nice business plan. Aren't we feeling good about this? And how many of you built a company before? Yeah, that you've been a co-founder before. You did? I see.
We just like didn't end up acting on the idea, like just going through it.
I didn't really do like an entrepreneurship thing, but I worked with another company with a group of students.
I see. So now this is like, yet another company. Now we're all officially co-founders. And then you're all stakeholders in this. This is kind of a matrix. You are both participants and you're both of co-creators of the Youth Excellence Center. How beautiful this is, right? So now I know we are running out of time. How much time do you guys have? Who has a hard stop? Who has a hard stop? No, it's like, does everybody have additional 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes? Yeah. Okay. Now, I think, we kind of, this thing got more exciting. So let me introduce, just one second. I think I have not given. Just give me 1 second. I thought Rajesh was already online. I did not know this. Namaskaram. No, I'm doing good. We kind of got a little bit delayed, but are you still available? I just sent you a link. Yeah, sounds good. Bye. So it's a fantastic thing. So whoever needs to drop, please feel free to drop because we are going to record this session and we will have Rajesh Shetty come and share some of his wisdom and some of the tools, right? Anybody that needs to leave, please feel free to leave anytime. So how is this exercise while you're doing it? Is it useful? Did you ever follow a kind of a similar structure in building a company? You did? So was that part of a school program?
Yeah, I took a class, a business class last year. So as a project, as a final project, we created a company.
Did anybody go through DECA? Does anybody go through DECA? DECA, sorry.
I did FPA last year.
Oh, you did that in FPA. I see. Did anybody go to the state level or national level? National level?
No.
State level?
No, we had online last year, but like I was just saying that I did for HOSA.
Oh, for HOSA? Did you go to the HOSA national level? In Orlando or somewhere, wherever they used to have one celebration, right?
Yeah, it was virtual this year. So.
What was your final HOSA rank? I think the final, when you go there, I think in the top they will get into the top 5 or something like that, right? But anyway, this is a fantastic. Congratulations. So I know we are running out of time. let me have the honor and the pleasure of inviting my coach and coach, investor, author, Rajesh Shetty. And, I sometimes refer him as modern Patanjali, a guy who writes Yoga Sutras. But without me saying much further, Rajesh, we have about 20 minutes. We kind of got delayed. You can, take over, and then I'll make you the presenter.
Okay, first of all, I know that I'm between them and their lunch probably, so I'll keep it quick. Can you all see me and hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Srini, and hope all of you had a great whole 9 yards. I saw that exercise. I logged in a little bit and then I logged out because I know that it was going very deep. So one question for all of you. You are building this Youth Excellence Center and it's part of entrepreneurship, right? I always ask people, how do you increase the odds of succeeding as an entrepreneur? I know that one of the yards was, we want to measure the risks and everything. Does anybody have a quick opinion? What should we do to increase the odds of succeeding as an entrepreneur? What should we do?
Sanjana?
I think we should really keep like positive mindset.
So the first answer is positive mindset.
Definitely. Good answer. Anything else? See, remember the stats are not good for entrepreneurs. It's I don't want to be. I'm always on cloud nine, right? So you have to have a positive mindset, and you have to be a little bit crazy, almost, because 9 out of 10 companies go out of business, which means that the odds are very, very low, isn't it? The positive mindset is like basic minimum. Good, Sanjana. Anybody else?
Plan and study your target audience.
Definitely. So if you don't understand what your target audience needs, then we will not know how to serve them. Definitely, yes, that's a good answer too.
Ritika? Just start. Just bias for action. Just start.
Bias for action is extremely important because there is a professor called Professor Saras Saraswati. She talks about a concept called effectuation. Effectuation means let me tell you a little bit of 1 minute background. She studied about 2,000 serial entrepreneurs. That means they are not like serial entrepreneurship attempt makers. No, they have to actually have one very big success, at least 2 failures, and 2 others maybe here and there. But that was her criteria. She found that what do they do differently? And she named that kind of thinking as effectual thinking. So if you think about it, when an entrepreneur, or generally when people say, I want to do something, they look at the goal and say they start looking for what resources they have and what resources they don't have. And the first thing that comes to their mind is, I want to collect all the resources that I don't have. Let's say I don't have money, let me get the money. I don't have a network, let me get the network. And then it takes a lot of time. And sometimes it's, if you don't have a bias for action, you'll just keep preparing forever, right? But effectual thinkers think like this. They know where they want to go. And they start doing an inventory of what all they already have. Let's say I have a network, some savings I have. And then with whatever they already have, they look at which, in the direction of their goal, what milestones can they meet. So they don't look at what they don't have. They always look at what they have. A bias for action plus effectual thinking will be a brilliant ingredient for all of you to keep making things happen. One last person, anybody else? Or I'll go to my answer. But all of these are good answers anyway. Very good. Should I keep moving?
Yes, please.
My answer is this. It's little bit looks like complicated, but I'll explain it. By having push button access to an oversupply of good help wherever you are and whenever you want. What does this mean? See, if everything happens exactly the way we planned it, it'll be a miracle. And also, it'll be very boring. Isn't it? There is no surprise, there is nothing, it has to be an adventure, isn't it? Things fail. We make an assumption and the assumption does not come true. How many people predicted that COVID-19 will happen? None, isn't it? So that kind of a thing happens. And if you are in the same business, You cannot say, oh, COVID-19, it was not part of the plan. Let me give a complaint to God. Sorry, you can't do anything like that. So you have to deal with it. When
And
you
then
want to,
one other thing is, sorry, Rajesh.
yes,
When we went to the whole 9-year journey, there was a section of risks. Those are the
yes,
risks we know right now. But
correct.
as we're going the journey, there are so many other unplanned risks that are going to manifest. So that is part of the entrepreneurial journey. And I completely agree with this. If there are no risks, there are no challenges. What is it? There is nothing like an entrepreneurship. You're just cruising.
Exactly.
Right?
They will lose interest completely and say, what is this? Boring. So, in fact, even in a video game or anything, right, there is levels of escalating levels of like challenges. Otherwise, people will not play a video game. And nothing. If there is no novelty, no surprise element, people will give up. So in this case, like Srini said, there is an unknown. You cannot say, let me list all the risks that I can. It's not even possible. We don't even know what happens, isn't it? So in fact, if we think that we get an entrepreneurship idea and then we think only we got it, then we have to have some special privileges that God said, okay, this is an entrepreneurship idea, let me transport it to this boy or girl's brain. That is not going to happen. It's all equal opportunity. If you are working on an idea, it's guaranteed that if it is a good idea, like 10 other people are working somewhere, isn't it? That competition will come and that should not come as a surprise. So my thinking is, if you have push button access, that means press a button and I have a challenge. Let's say it's a marketing challenge. Press a button, I get access to the best of the best marketing brains. And let's say it's a pricing challenge. Press a button and I'll get the best pricing expert. At that time, amazing things will happen. But the problem is, how do you get there? That's the key, right? So that if everybody could have it, then it will look like magic. So I want to talk about to unleash this kind of access. You need to know the greatest force on earth, which is, I call it reciprocation. What is reciprocation? And you would have already faced it even in your young age. When somebody does something really good for you, let's say they help you with an exam, they help you with a project or anything. What is the first thing as a human being we feel? How can I help you back? Isn't it? Yes? Yes or no?
True.
Very good. So now, how do you get the reciprocation? It's like you had to do something to someone which will help them in some way. So then the other person says, I want to help you back. At this time, you may not need anything. But when the time comes, let's say you help 10 people, 8 of them just take it and go away. At least 2 of them say, you know what, I want to help you back. That's like a karma points in your account that you can, it's like it's in your bank. You can cash them whenever you want. That starts the journey. And if you want to be really good at it, there is only one skill you need to learn. The skill is your ability to give meaningful help at scale at a very low incremental cost to you. Again, it'll all look like gobbledygook, but let me break this down and help you. See, when you help someone, the meaningful help means whatever project they are doing, there will be some progress in a measurable progress in reasonable time. Let's say one of your friends wanted to write a little book, a comic book or something. So you are a good artist and you say, I'm going to help you do the drawings. You write the story, I'll write the drawings. But when you make those illustrations, they should be meaningful, which means that she should not say, okay, I got the idea, then I have to hire another illustrator and then I have to, no. It should be so complete that in collaboration, you should be able to produce that comic book and sell it very quickly, right? So there should be measurable progress in reasonable time. Otherwise, you may just do some meaningless help and then say, I helped a lot. So there's a trick to it. How do you know that you have provided meaningful help? If you have provided truly meaningful help, they will miss you in their past. What does that mean? I'll ask you a question. All of you have gone through so many teachers in your life, from kindergarten to wherever you are. I don't know what are all your ages. If I say, can you remember all the teachers by name? What will you say? Unless you are like super Guinness World Records.
All the teachers? Wow.
All the teachers.
Yeah. But
We'll remember most of them who've been very nice to us or helped us.
Yeah, actually, you're almost there. You'll remember those that were very bad or very good. The very bad because you say, oh my God, I had this teacher, I don't know what she was doing. She didn't even know what she was teaching. Like that, right? So, okay, 1 second. Something came up here.
But this is fantastic. In my own journey of all the teachers that I've had, there are some people that actually stand out for me. Like there is Dr.
Yes.
Shende. Dr. Shende is a professor. He's from IIT Kanpur. I mean, I miss him. He's like who really taught the complexity, made me love the field of computer science in a way that I never imagined, right? Or Sridham Sarvottam.
Yes.
He literally opened the dimension of yoga. So sorry, continue.
Yeah. So what happens is you remember them when you meet them, you don't know. They're like any other teacher, right? They just come in, they walk into the room and they start teaching and they just blow your socks off and say, oh my God, I wish I met this teacher 5 years ago. My life would have been even better. That's called missing in your past, right? What could you do to your fellow students or your neighbor or your siblings or anything that you just blow their socks off and they say, oh my God, I wish I met this person few years ago. My life could have been even more different. Only then you have provided meaningful help, isn't it? So keep that in the back of your mind. And then if I want to go back and reread this, now you know what is meaningful help, right? So we got it. At scale, how do you do it at scale? See, if Srini wanted to do this youth entrepreneurship excellence, youth excellence center in one little small village, it can't be at scale. From the get-go, we are going virtual. YEC on wheels. Why? Because we want to master the medium. Like YEC online is we have to master the medium of Zoom and all those things. Now, just I'll show you an example. So you think you know what you can do with Zoom. So let's say I show you something that you may not be able to do. See, Mr. India. Up here, listen. You see, now once you know it, once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You see the new possibility, right? You cannot unsee it. Oh, now you'll think, how do I do it? Isn't it? So for anything to be outstanding, you need to out-execute. For you to out-execute, you have to outthink. For you to outthink, you have to outsee. If you can see more than what somebody else is seeing, that starts the journey, entrepreneurship journey. Why am I so excited about YEC? It was just one lunch meeting when Srini came to the Bay Area and said, this is what I'm going to do it. He had to see it first before somebody else saw it. Once he saw it, there are people like me who will follow him and say, Srini, I know what to do. Because I didn't see it, but it doesn't matter. Now, once he saw it, now we know how to build it looks like a pipe dream, but now it's not like the pipe is gone. It looks like a real dream now, right? So it starts the journey there. So you got the meaningful help at scale, you master the medium. How do you do it at very low incremental cost to you? You have to focus on your strengths. If you want to give good help, meaningful help, a very low incremental cost, it has to be on your strengths. It cannot be in your weak area, isn't it? Now, what is the problem with strengths? Problem is your superpowers are generally invisible to you. If you're really, really, really good at something, you think, oh, anyway, everybody will be good at it. It's nothing, right? So, but for you, it's invisible to you. How do you make them visible? That's the core message. How do you know your strengths? First is revisiting your journals. I don't know how many of you write journals. A journal is extremely important. If you are not doing it, you should do it. Why? Because there are 3 things that you need to learn and apply. First is called recurrence. Recurrence means whatever you are learning, any new distinction or anything, you have to repeat it. Second is reflection. So that means you have to go a little bit deeper. I also call it recursion. So when somebody says, let's say you need to look at the risks. What kind of risks? Known risks. What are known risks? Then you go, what are unknown risks? What are unknown risks? start thinking a little bit deeper, that's recursion. Last one is reciprocation. That means you have to discuss. You have so many people who are also joining. You have to discuss with them about what we new learned. Because when you express it in the way you learned, they will express it in the way they learned. Suddenly you will see that there is magic. Oh, I didn't see it that way. I didn't see that angle. So the journaling automatically covers two things, recurrence and recursion or reflection. So that's why I urge all of you to do some journaling. How does it matter in the terms of strengths? Is because you think about it. When you do a journal at the end of the day or end of the week or something, you are not writing it verbatim. You cannot say, I got up in the morning, brushed my teeth, I went there, I changed my clothes, nothing. You'll just highlights only you write. When you reflect back and see what you wrote in the journal, it gives a clue to your strengths. What gets you attracted to something? What does not even matter to you? Because the whole day, 24 hours, you are not writing it in the journal. That's the first thing. Second, from your notes, like if you are taking notes here in this, you are also not taking it verbatim. I might have said so many things, Srini might have said so many things. Just take down what resonates with you. That also provides clue to your strengths. Next is with, I don't know, I made a mistake. Why are your mentors? The mentors is basically, what is a mentor? Mentor is someone who wants to help you, without any of their agenda, but to make you a better you. So they can see what you may not see. So it's extremely important that you have one or more of them. Asking competent people who care. It's the who care and the competent are very important. There's so many people around you who will care, but they may not be competent, right? So for example, you are interested in producing art, and you make an art. Let's say your mom and dad or your siblings, they don't care about art, but they care for you. You go and ask them, hey, how does this thing look? I created my artwork. They may say it's brilliant, it should be in Smithsonian Museum. No, nothing happens. They care, but they're not competent. So you have to have both of them, competent people who care and not just people who care. Most people make a mistake of just going and getting feedback from people who care. They will always give you good feedback, isn't it? They care for you and they'll say, good job, pat on the back. But in reality, it may not be true. So this distinction you need to know. Next, noticing when you are in the flow. What is flow? To make it very simple, when you lose track of time in an activity that is producing some valuable things in the world. There are many, many other definitions, Mihaly, Mihaly, they have given all those things. For you to know, is there an activity that when you're engaged in it, that activity is producing value and you are losing track of time? What is it? Even after I say this, last time when I was speaking to a group in a conference, somebody asked, when was that you lost track of time? Somebody said, I know. I was watching Titanic and I never 2.5 hours, I just lost it. Or something like that. No, that's not losing track of time. That's just wasting time, right? So it has to be value producing activity that will make you lose track of time. So if you remember back, what were the things that made you lose track of time? It will be a clue to your strengths. And then noticing what you don't notice. This looks like a puzzle. How will you notice that something that you don't notice? Puzzle piece, isn't it? So the way you do it is, whenever you go as a group to a museum or any place, you ask each other, what did you learn from this? What got you excited? Let's say you come to a course like this, you ask them, what did you? When they say things that you never even noticed, that also gives a clue to your strengths. Because you notice something, you didn't notice something. So suddenly either there might be a blind spot, or there might be things that you say, that is not me. Because it's important to know what is you and what is not you. And if you forget all of them, the last one is the most important thing. Again, everything you forget. The last one is noticing the requests made to you when the stakes are high. So usually the superpowers are not visible to us. but they're very visible to people around you. They know exactly what you are good at. They will not come and let's say you are a bad negotiator, really bad. Everybody knows that, right? So then they will never come and ask you, they're buying a bike or something. They will not say, hey, why don't you come and join me? I need some help with negotiating. They will never do it because you will be a competitive disadvantage for them, isn't it? So they will call you only when you are good at something, isn't it? So you have to start thinking. That could be a quick homework for all of you if you choose to do it, is to look at all these things and then find out what your superpowers are. The self-awareness that comes with it will be a huge competitive, will give a huge competitive edge, that you will spend your time strengthening your strengths. And I'm not saying you should not work on your weaknesses, but you could manage them by partnering, isn't it? Some people are very good at something, some people bad at something. So for me, numbers, my head spins. So whenever I partner with someone, I always make sure that at least one person is very good at numbers, right? So somebody else, like a marketing gets me going, storytelling gets me going. So I know what I'm good at and I'm still learning, keep on learning, but I also know what I'm really bad at. So which means I'm a little bit self-aware that I always fill the gaps with partners. So in your case, you are all young, but even now it's never too early to know what you are really, really good at, what gets you motivated, what gets you going, what will you do even if there is no money. So those things you can capture and cultivate and keep growing at it. So any questions so far?
So should we all make a commitment to, by the next session, everybody will come up with, one or two superpowers that you know about yourself.
Yes.
Is it, or do we all commit to actually saying that? Yep, excellent.
Now, as a bonus exercise, I'll give you one more exercise. So you should help at least 5 people, whoever they are. But you should never ask them, how can I help you? If you do that, that's a cop-out answer. Why? You go and say, to ask someone, let's say somebody, you go to Bob, your friend, and say, Bob, how can I help you? Now you're not helping Bob to help you. You are actually putting a puzzle piece in front of Bob, right? Now he has to think, okay, he or she wants to help me. What can I ask for help? Can I ask her for $1,000? Oh, no, that may be too much. No, what can I ask? Can I ask her to help me just set up the garage? No, that's too much. So it's too difficult for them. So there is a reason I said this is a simple exercise, but it's not going to be easy. So you have to provide meaningful help to at least 5 people using your strengths, not using any of your weaknesses. It should not look like drudgery, like, oh God, I have to help. It should look like fun. So now you will see with your strength how to have fun. While you are having fun, you make somebody's day. So what will you do? So for you to help someone, you should know where they're going. What is the project? Which means you have to observe. Maybe this is the first time you will observe a lot more about them than about you. Because usually, generally, human beings are, what's in it for me? What can I get? This time, you cannot go there with that attitude. You'll say, where are they going? What are their challenges? Where are the gaps? What capacity do they need? And then, because you cannot ask, how can I help? How can you proactively give them help? It will look like a big surprise for them. Oh, thank you so much. I was not expecting this kind of thing. So if you can do it for 5 people, maybe you'll succeed 1, 2, 3. I don't really care. You will see that by the end of the week, you'll be so charged up that you will not stop at 5. You'll start helping more and more people. That's where the fun begins. Any questions?
Any questions? Is the ask clear? Which is by the end of by next session, each of you make a commitment to help 5 people, provide meaningful help based on your strengths.
Yes.
And before that, we also know what our strengths are, what are our true superpowers are.
Correct.
And then is 5 very achievable? 5 achievable? This is so fun. Actually, Rajesh, you're more right than as always, right? You're more right than I am. When Rajesh and I were talking about it, Rajesh actually started with 10. Then I was like, no, let's make it 3. Let's make it 2. And then Rajesh is like, you don't know your own youth entrepreneurs. This is like 10 is very achievable, right? But I think, we both made a deal, and Rajesh is trying to accommodate me, and now we settle at 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so but
it's only 1 per day. That's all.
Yeah, less than 1 per day.
Yeah.
Right. And what are the attributes of the help that you're looking for? Meaningful help.
Yeah.
Meaningful help. Number 2, don't ask for how can I help you. Then you're actually putting a burden on them, right? Without them without asking them. Provide a meaningful help based on your strengths.
Yes.
And 5. Yep.
Based on your, I didn't get that.
Based on your strengths.
Strength.
Based on your strengths, not on your weaknesses, right? Now that actually unveils the true magic of entrepreneurship. And that's what, what Rajesh talked about. We have to solve a problem at scale. Scale cannot be done by just you alone. Because when we does anybody know of a company of 1? To achieve any meaningful thing? Is there a company of 1, or is it a company of 1? Actually, I know there are monks who sit in the caves and meditate. They are the companies of 1, but they are actually pursuing excellence for themselves, and then perhaps they're generating some creative energy for the rest of the world. But what about the rest? If you are trying to create a meaningful impact and well-being of so many people, we have to be a company of many, because our own capacity is not enough to build it. So that means we need to have an army of people. And how do we get an army of people? Not by recruiting them. First, we have to extend that help. We have to provide other help to others so that they would want to come and work for you. Right? So it's a super magic power. So we need to first build a muscle of providing meaningful help to the others, so that the network starts, being part of you, so that you can then become an entrepreneur to make an impactful change. Otherwise, the choice is there. We all can choose to be a company of 1 and sit in a cave. This is not a bad thing. But I don't think any of you have any symptoms of being a monk. Right? So this is not a bad thing, actually. Monk is also a great. But Buddha also said, Buddha initially wanted to be a monk, a company of 1. He didn't want to even utter a word. But then everybody said, like, dude, you have to go help other people to actually end their suffering. So he walked, he taught, and he preached, all that stuff. So he's a great entrepreneur. He made a huge, huge impact. So Rajesh, any other thoughts?
No, this is good. And then you will see that very first time you help someone without them asking you or you offering them help, it look a little bit odd. They'll always think, what do you want? Like that. Because they're not used to it, and they say, there must be some fine print somewhere. I just tell me what is it. You just say, no, nothing. I just feel like helping. And then very soon, when you develop this muscle, it's a muscle like anything else, right? So giving is a muscle. You start giving, you'll have so much fun. Very soon, in a few years, you'll reach a stage when everybody reciprocates. You cannot even take it because you don't have enough projects to use their help. You say, please, I don't want anything. I'm happy. I just get the joy of helping. That's where the real magic begins.
Exactly. That's when abundance. Everybody is in the excellent state, because everybody is like, wanting to help others because they're already fully relieved. See, that's our end goal of YEC. See, there's already a secret recipe of how you to build excellence in the world. The interesting thing is only by giving. Yes. Providing meaningful help to the others, meaningful help. It's not just giving, giving $1. Meaningful help makes a difference. And that's the secret to build excellence in the world. So Rajesh, is always the way you navigate to take us on a journey, putting all these pieces together to unlock one of the greatest magics or superpowers. It's so fantastic. So I really hope that you have time to join us next week, to to
Yes.
discover the superpowers within all of us, and also
Yes.
learn about how much of the sharing muscle or the giving muscle that we've built.
Definitely, I'll be there, and thank you so much. I know that all of you stayed late, so I know that it means a lot to me. So all of you have a great week ahead.
Wonderful. And then everybody, close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Exhale. One more deep breath. Exhale. Let's do the final entrepreneur prayer. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamayam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let's all partner together and be the co-founders to take everybody from an inefficient state to an excellent state. Let's all work towards building excellence and designing excellence in the world. And that's how we become infinite. That there be peace and harmony. Thanks, everyone. All the youth entrepreneurs. What a fantastic session. And let's see again next week. And I'll send everybody a copy of the company that we built. Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Bye.